If you find yourself constantly overlooked, dismissed, or treated like an option rather than a priority, it's not just a stroke of bad luck. There's a deeper reason behind it, and no, it's not because you're somehow not enough, or that people only respect a certain type of persona. The truth lies in the subtle habits and mindsets that quietly undermine your presence and power. Most of us think being agreeable, overly accommodating, or quick to share our vulnerabilities is a strength. But paradoxically, those very behaviors often chip away at the respect we receive, because true respect, true attraction, isn't something you can demand by bending over backward or by exposing every piece of your inner self too soon. It's about how you hold your space, the energy you project, and the boundaries you maintain. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 timeless philosophical truths every man should internalize if he wants to stop being an afterthought and start living as a man who commands respect, stirs curiosity, and stands firm in his purpose. Stay until the end, and I'll share a mindset transformation that will change the way you engage with the world, especially if you're tired of feeling drained and undervalued. Speak with purpose, not excess. Philosophers from antiquity to modern times have emphasized the power of measured speech. The man who rambles on, justifying every action or explaining every thought, loses his gravity. When you feel compelled to over-explain yourself, you reveal uncertainty rather than confidence. It's like a musician playing every note loudly. Your message loses its impact. Imagine you decline an invitation but feel the need to craft a detailed explanation, or you make a small error and instantly apologize profusely. These are signs of a restless mind trying to secure approval. But in reality, clarity and calmness are far more magnetic. Practice, cultivate brevity. Let your words be few but weighty. When you say no, let that be enough. Stand by your decisions quietly, and you'll notice a shift in how others listen and respond. Anchor yourself. Don't drift to please. It's tempting to center your world around someone you admire or desire. You might start reshuffling your schedule, pausing your pursuits, or prioritizing their presence over your own well-being. But this creates imbalance and dependence, a subtle surrender of your autonomy. Philosophical traditions remind us that a man's virtue is closely tied to his ability to remain anchored, to hold fast to his values and path, even when the external world pulls at him. When you become the sun that others orbit, you maintain your power, but if you revolve around them, you lose your essence. Practice, maintain your rhythm, pursue your passions, friendships, and goals independently. Invite others to walk alongside, but never let them dictate your course. This groundedness sparks authentic attraction and respect. Earn influence through integrity. Not pleading. Respect and influence are often mistaken for things we can win by constant giving or performing. But genuine influence flows from integrity, living consistently with your principles and values. When you seek respect by trying too hard, by overextending kindness or generosity without reciprocity, you risk seeming needy rather than noble. True power is silent and steady, not loud and desperate. Practice, lead with integrity, offer your best self where it counts, but don't chase validation. The man who gives selectively and wisely commands a rare respect that can't be bought or begged for. Reveal your depth gradually, not all at once. Vulnerability is a beautiful human trait, but it's also a delicate art. Too much too soon can overwhelm or push others away. When you disclose your deepest fears, pains, or dreams before trust is established, you risk sacrificing the natural tension that fuels curiosity and connection. Philosophers have long discussed the value of balance, the harmony between openness and reserve. By sharing your inner world in measured doses, you create mystery and invite others to invest in discovering you fully. Practice. Be mindful about what and when you share. Let your presence be steady and composed, allowing others space to engage without feeling flooded. This measured reveal cultivates intrigue and deeper bonds. Walk away when integrity demands it. This is the most challenging but liberating truth. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to walk away. Staying in situations that diminish your dignity or betray your values out of fear or comfort only leads to stagnation and sorrow. Philosophical wisdom teaches us that our greatest loss is the loss of ourselves. When you ignore your inner voice and endure disrespect or imbalance, you chip away at your spirit. Practice. Respect your boundaries fiercely. If a relationship, friendship, or circumstance erodes your sense of self, have the courage to leave, even if it means embracing uncertainty. Freedom and respect begin with honoring your own truth. Applying these truths in everyday life, let's make these concepts more tangible with common scenarios. Scenario 1. She suddenly becomes distant after a few promising encounters. Most men panic, double text, or send long messages to clarify. Instead, practice calm detachment. Pull back your attention gently. This silent response creates space and mystery, often reigniting interest. Scenario 2. She repeatedly disrespects your time, shows up late or cancels last minute. Many tolerate this, hoping to avoid conflict. But each acceptance lowers your value in her eyes. The wiser move is quiet adjustment. Reduce your availability slightly, maintain your calm, and see how the dynamic shifts. Scenario 3. She tests your emotional steadiness with sarcasm or teasing. Instead of reacting defensively, hold your composure, smile, stay grounded. This shows unshakable strength, and most tests are subconscious attempts to gauge your stability. Value yourself before seeking value from others. Here's the essential takeaway. Most men lose not due to weakness, but because they give away their power too quickly. They believe showing care and vulnerability early builds connection, but often it creates imbalance and confusion. True respect comes not from over-explaining or over-giving, but from self-possession. When you stop trying to prove your worth and instead embody your inherent value, everything changes. You don't have to chase, explain, or justify your presence in the world. Real strength is quiet, steady, and unshakable. In a world inundated with noise and constant chatter, the power of measured, intentional speech is often underestimated. The ancient Stoics, for instance, believed that wise men speak only when necessary, and when they do, their words carry weight because they come from a place of clarity and reason rather than emotional reactivity. When you feel the urge to explain yourself repeatedly, to justify your every move or decision, it reveals a hidden insecurity, a belief that your natural worth isn't enough and that you must earn acceptance through explanation. Imagine the impact of silence paired with thoughtful, succinct responses. The space between words often speaks louder than the words themselves. When you say no, or express a boundary without piling on explanations, you communicate that your time and values are not negotiable. This silent confidence is magnetic because it suggests self-possession and dignity. It says, I trust you to respect my choices without me having to convince you. On a practical level, this means resisting the urge to clarify every small thing, to answer every potential question before it's asked. It means standing firm even when others push back. For example, if someone invites you to an event you don't want to attend, a simple, I won't be able to make it, is enough. There's no need to list all your reasons or apologize excessively. This brevity and certainty create a strong presence and communicate boundaries clearly. Furthermore, over-explaining can dilute your message. When you provide too many details, people may become distracted or question your sincerity. They might think you're hiding something or lacking confidence in your own decisions. The strongest communicators understand that the essence of influence lies in clarity and simplicity. Less is more. Practicing this requires mindfulness. Notice when you start to over-explain. Ask yourself if your words add value or if they stem from a need for approval. Cultivate the habit of pausing before responding. Take a breath and respond deliberately. Over time, this will build a quieter, stronger version of yourself that commands attention through presence rather than volume. Anchor yourself. Don't drift to please expanded in relationships, whether romantic or platonic. A common pitfall is losing oneself in the desire to please or maintain harmony. This is often unconscious. When you meet someone you like or respect, it's natural to want to be available to make them happy, to align your schedule with theirs. But when this becomes a pattern, it causes a dangerous shift. Your own identity and priorities begin to revolve around the other person's presence or approval. Philosophy teaches us about the importance of self-sovereignty, the ability to be your own master, to live in accordance with your own values rather than constantly adapting to external pressures. The existentialists, for example, emphasize authenticity, living truthfully to yourself even when that means being alone or misunderstood. Losing your center of gravity to please others not only diminishes your power, but also sends a subtle message that you are incomplete without their validation. When you make someone else the center of your world, you invite imbalance. The other person unconsciously takes on the role of the prize or pivot, and you become the chaser or satellite. This dynamic undermines mutual respect and reduces attraction because it signals dependency rather than strength. To anchor yourself, start by reclaiming your time and priorities. Schedule your activities around your goals, passions, and values first. Invite others to join your life, but don't let their presence disrupt your core. For example, if you enjoy a weekly gym routine or creative project, keep it sacred regardless of new relationships. This creates a magnetic polarity where others are drawn to your self-contained energy rather than your neediness. Anchoring yourself also means maintaining friendships and connections outside of your romantic interests. Social isolation in the name of closeness is a trap. Healthy men have diverse sources of fulfillment and don't rely on one person to fill all emotional or social needs. Philosophically, this is a practice of balance, honoring the self while engaging fully with others. It requires courage to say no and to hold boundaries when your feelings urge otherwise. But it is this very courage that cultivates respect. People admire those who have a mission bigger than the relationship itself because it signals purpose and depth. Earn influence through integrity, not pleading. There is a profound difference between seeking respect by proving your worth through constant giving and embodying respect through your integrity. The former is reactive. It comes from a place of lack, trying to fill a void or gain approval. The latter is proactive. It is grounded in self-respect and consistency, a natural magnetism that doesn't depend on external validation. Philosophers like Nietzsche argued that true strength arises from self-mastery and creating your own values. Influence, then, flows from being a man who walks his path with conviction, not from begging others to acknowledge him. In modern life, many fall into the trap of performing kindness or generosity in the hope of being noticed or rewarded. This might look like constantly offering favors, gifts, or emotional labor without reciprocity. While kindness is virtuous, when it is unbalanced, it becomes a form of self-effacement rather than self-expression. A man who leads with integrity understands that his value isn't measured by how much he gives, but by the quality and appropriateness of what he offers. This means giving selectively and with purpose. For example, offering support or gifts should be a reflection of genuine care, not a currency to buy affection or respect. This approach preserves your energy and prevents the depletion that comes from overextending yourself. It also creates a natural hierarchy of respect. Those who recognize your value earn your investment, while those who don't are met with polite detachment. Practically, this means evaluating your relationships and interactions through the lens of mutual benefit and respect. Are you giving because you want to help, or because you fear losing attention? Are your actions consistent with your values, or are they reactions to insecurity? Living with integrity also means being truthful and consistent in your words and actions. When you say what you mean and follow through, others intuitively sense your reliability and character. This is far more compelling than any attempt to earn respect through proving or performing. Reveal your depth gradually. Not all at once. Vulnerability is often praised as a sign of strength, but wisdom teaches us that timing and context are everything. There is a rhythm to connection, a dance between revealing and withholding that builds tension and deepens intimacy. Sharing too much too soon can overwhelm others, creating discomfort rather than closeness. From a philosophical standpoint, this aligns with the principle of moderation, or the golden mean, where virtue lies between extremes. Oversharing is an extreme that can destabilize relationships by rushing emotional intimacy before trust is established. Early in relationships, people are naturally cautious, assessing whether you are trustworthy and stable. When you lay bare your deepest wounds or declare intense feelings prematurely, you risk pushing them away because it feels like pressure rather than invitation. Social media often exacerbates this tendency, encouraging public displays of emotion and oversharing personal struggles. While authenticity is important, broadcasting every emotional state publicly can erode the sense of groundedness and self-control that attracts respect. In everyday life, revealing your depth gradually means sharing parts of yourself in layers, allowing curiosity and intrigue to build. It means expressing vulnerability in ways that feel safe and appropriate for the stage of connection. For example, instead of unloading all your emotional history on week 1, introduce small personal stories, show empathy, and observe how the other person responds. This approach creates space for mutual discovery, encouraging others to invest in understanding you more deeply over time. It also keeps your presence centered and grounded, rather than reactive or needy. Walk away when integrity demands it. Perhaps the most profound philosophical teaching is the imperative to honor your own truth above all else. Remaining in situations that compromise your dignity, happiness, or growth is a slow erosion of the self. Fear of loneliness, discomfort, or starting over can trap many men in toxic dynamics, whether in dating, friendships, or work. But this fear, while natural, must not override the call of integrity. Philosophers like Epictetus taught that our freedom lies in our response to circumstances, and that our primary duty is to ourselves. Staying out of fear is an abdication of this freedom. Walking away requires strength and clarity. It means listening to your inner voice even when the path forward is uncertain. It means choosing discomfort now over long-term misery. For example, if a partner consistently disrespects your boundaries or mocks your needs, it's a clear signal to reconsider the relationship. Staying for the sake of comfort or investment only deepens wounds. When you honor yourself first, you model self-respect. This not only preserves your well-being, but also elevates the quality of people you attract. Those who value you will rise to meet your standards. Those who don't reveal themselves early. Practical everyday applications expanded. Let's revisit those everyday moments with richer detail. When she pulls away after a few great dates, instead of reacting with anxiety or desperation, recognize that her distancing may not be a rejection of you, but a test of your stability. The natural response is calm withdrawal, a return to your own interests without chasing explanations. This silence creates space for reflection and curiosity. It invites her to wonder why you're not reacting like others might. This creates a magnetic tension rather than desperate clinging. When she disrespects your time, repeated lateness or last-minute cancellations are more than mere inconveniences. They signal her view of your value. Accepting this behavior without consequence teaches her that your time is flexible and less important. Instead of confrontation, adjust your availability calmly. Show that your life flows independently of her whims. This quiet boundary setting often shifts the dynamic and earns respect without drama. When she tests your emotional strength, playful jabs or sarcastic comments can feel like insults or challenges. Rather than reacting defensively, choose to remain calm, possibly even smiling. This shows that you are unshakable, that her tests cannot destabilize you. Most tests are unconscious ways she gauges your emotional reliability. By passing with composure, you build trust and deepen connection. The ultimate mindset shift, the core of these teachings, is simple but profound. Stop handing over your power before it's earned. Stop trying to prove your worth through endless effort, explanation, or emotional giving. Instead, embody the belief that your time, energy, and presence are precious commodities. This shift is not arrogance, it's self-respect. It's recognizing that attraction and respect are not the result of chasing or explaining, but of standing firmly in your own value. When you move with this clarity and restraint, everything changes. Your relationships become more balanced, your presence more magnetic, and your life more fulfilling.